Hi, and welcome to another episode of Make Work Happen. I'm joined today by Patrick O'Leary of Talent Beyond Boundaries. Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Hey, Jennifer, very well. Thank you so much for having me today. It's lovely to
Oh,
be
it's great to have you. I've been so excited to talk to you. Patrick, you are the Chief Operating Officer, again, with Talent Beyond Boundaries. You've worked with so many companies. You do such great work. You could start off by telling us a little bit about Talent Beyond Boundaries. What do you do, and how have you been helping companies and some of the people that they work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were founded in 2016, and really the mission itself is for us to build a world where displaced people can safely migrate to work using their skills to rebuild their lives. I think at the core of what we do is the truth and the belief that refugees are people with skills, talent, and aspirations, and they're assets to not only businesses but their communities. So that's kind of our starting point. For Talent Beyond Boundaries, the work that we do is we connect very simply employers with skilled refugees and help them through visa and labor programs relocate safely and with integrity to host countries such as Canada, Australia, the US, the UK. Not only I think it's really important to flag as well. It's not only the movement of refugees; it's the systems change work as well that's taking place. So the global immigration system for a very long time has locked refugees out of that. And really, the reason that we're here is to say, oh, well, to disrupt it. Maybe I can say that disrupt the system and say, well, why is it locked out? And so, yes, one component is matching these really fantastic skilled candidates with employers. And then the other side is really kind of working behind the scenes with governments to create these skilled pilots and to unlock the systems so that skilled refugees can access them.
And it's really interesting because it brings a really unique value proposition to our industry. And you talk about disruptors, and sometimes I think our industry really does need some disruption. We've done things for such a long time, and in the recent years, we've seen companies really seeking out critical skills and trying to find unique ways of bringing talent into their own companies, and how they can also provide some unique ways of putting forth some value and some good into the work that they do. What inspired you to join TBB? We can call that Talent Beyond
Yeah,
Boundaries for short a
absolutely.
little bit.
TBB with friends.
What's your personal motivation behind what you do?
I mean, selfishly, I love a challenge, and when I heard of TBB, I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And yeah, I made the move to come over to TBB. I was working for a large global immigration firm before, and yeah, I was working with large companies and helping them relocate and move individuals. And when I heard about TBB, it aligned with my personal values. I've done a lot of volunteering over the last 10 years or so with refugees, and I thought this is a big challenge that we all need to come together, meet this important moment, and work this out. So for me, like there was an alignment with my values and knowing that this work is really important, but also that intellectual challenge for me about problem solving this. And I'm fortunate enough to do that with a incredible team around me, and it's been an exciting journey.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's exciting for all of us because it's something that I think a lot of mobility managers and owners, they want to be able to do. It's something that we've all looked towards. What are some of the key benefits that refugees bring to the host countries' economies and the communities that they're in?
Yeah, and just to actually before I answer that, to piggyback off just a comment you made there, it is the right time now. I think when we're thinking about this, there's over 100 million people who are displaced in the world, and I think that there's a really important and terrifying statistic. And you know,
Mm.
we can look at that and say, "Gosh, that's terrible," but actually, what are we as a community, a global community? What are we doing about it? And so, I think the time is now, just on that point. In terms of the candidates themselves, I mean, kind of reframe the question, or would answer it a different way and say it's just like hiring any skilled person. That's just part of their identity. Why wouldn't why wouldn't they be excellent? And yeah, we have some candidates who may come through the program and interview really well, just like any other hire, and maybe it's not a good fit. But what we are seeing is incredibly resilient individuals who've had a more of a difficult time, and they're coming through, and the feedback we get from our employers is incredible, skilled, resilient, passionate, and just a credit to the organizations, but also the wider community that they're joining as well. We have candidates who come and work in large cities, who are working maybe for smaller employers in more rural areas, and it's just really interesting to kind of track the progress. It's exciting too.
Yeah. And I kind of want to touch upon something that's a little bit of a sensitive topic, and it's kind of the profile of a refugee. I think there's sometimes some assumptions built in, something that TBB does very well. They reframe that narrative that refugees, they don't want to necessarily do certain types of work, and perhaps they're looking for a certain type of a handout or whatnot. TBB has effectively shown that the opposite is in fact true. They want to be effective. They want that value, and they want to show that they have those skills, that they, and oftentimes they are highly trained individuals with critical skills that they can go into those communities, and they want that chance to show that, and they're bringing families with them that they're taking care of. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's yeah. Thanks for raising that question. I think it's really important, and it can often be the elephant in the room, and it shouldn't be. And I think we have a responsibility to challenge not only our blind spots, but some of the discourse that we hear on this topic, because it's uncomfortable and it's not true. Frankly. But I think really we're coming back to skill shortages that we're seeing globally across the world. And when I look at our database, we have over 70,000 at the moment, and growing skilled refugees. And that can be any individual, from a nurse to a doctor to a teacher to a welders to bakers, butchers. And yeah, it's incredible just to see the skill set. So just as a starting point, we have skilled workers and labor shortages. So, why wouldn't we connect them again, kind of going back to that point, and that contribution that these individuals are looking to make. And I think it's really important as well to think that we are very privileged, all of us, and we may have gone to university and have our skills, but we're not displaced at this moment in time. It could happen to anyone, and hopefully, if we were in that situation, there would be a pathway for us to access our skills and to relocate. So I think it's really just humanizing individuals and realizing actually we're all we're all very similar, and how can we help these individuals use their skills to better themselves and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. I've long believed that mobility, long been a pathway for people to build skills, overcome challenges, and build their own careers. And Talent Beyond Boundaries has been it really proves that it's a pathway for people to kind of build their lives, and it's a pathway for their families. Just wondering if you have any anecdotes or stories that you can share, that why you do what you do.
Yeah, actually. So when I joined TBB a few years back, I was initially working as the Canada director. And I went to meet one of our candidates at the airport when they arrived, and she was coming to work as a PSW, but she was a trained nurse previously in Syria, and she had two little girls. I think at the time they were 2 and 5. She came with her husband. She gave birth to the second child, I believe, in a refugee camp. She applied for this job around 3 years ago and got rejected because her English level wasn't where it needed to be, as part of remembering these are economic programs. So there are requirements that the candidates have to meet. So she went away during that period of displacement, gave birth to her second child, whilst studying on the side, working, and resat her tests, interviewed again, and got the job offer. I then had the privilege to meet her at the airport and her family to say, welcome to Canada. And that's the work. We can talk about numbers with these people and their stories, and that relates to the point I was saying earlier about resilience. And who wouldn't want someone like that to come and work in your company? Who at a time where we can't imagine sometimes the situations that people are in, they can go away, better themselves, and come back. And I sure would want someone like that working in my organization.
Oh, absolutely. Last year, I presented at Canadian Employee Relocation Council on a session with a couple of our fabulous corporate representatives. And we talked about mobility, mental health, and some of the research has pointed to leadership. The key factor that they're looking for in employees following the pandemic is resiliency. And I can't think of a better launching point than the work that you're doing. TBB is currently working with one of our own clients to relocate refugees into Australia. How exciting! How does that feel to see the work you're doing making a difference and actually improving lives?
It's great. I mean, I part when I joined TVB, part of my mindset was working with wonderful partners like Wycart, right? Because when we take a step back and think about this, we're working to change the system, the global immigration system, so we have a visa pathway. But once those pathways are unlocked, we know that the mobility puzzle is complicated and it's a journey. And it's really important that I think the candidate, we are giving them those same services and that same white glove treatment, and they're relocating with integrity as well. So it was a really important goal for me to make sure we're building the ecosystem within the mobility sector and working with these partners. So to be working with Wycart for our first candidates, plural, are now to be moving to Australia with one of our companies is a joy for me to see that, and knowing that the candidates, the experience that they will have going through that journey as well is terrific. And I think over time, hopefully, as we talk about mobility and in our industry, that this is just a given and it's part of normal talent acquisition, and these candidates are just included in the wider pool.
So, how does a company get started? I think everybody would agree that this is important. I think this certainly speaks to the hearts of a lot of the people in our industry, no doubt. What advice would you give to companies looking to support refugees? Where can they get started?
Yeah, so I mean, certainly come to our website, Talent Beyond Boundaries. We currently have 7 different visa programs at the moment, working 7 different countries. So that is the UK, Canada, Australia, Belgium, Ireland, Portugal, and the US as well. So with teams now working in all of those countries, you can connect through our website straight to TBB, and we'll reach out. Typically, we would look at a job description and then do a search in our talent catalog. That's where our database of all of our candidates, and see if we can find you a match. But would love to chat and just see what you're looking for and what the business needs are, and see if we can have candidates that would be a good fit.
And so as we get closer to wrapping up, how do you envision the future of refugee employment and the mobility on a global scale? What role does Talent Beyond Boundaries play in shaping this future?
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, in maybe 5 to 10 years' time, there's a world where maybe TBB doesn't exist if everything goes right. We're ambitious with our 5-year strategy at the moment. We're looking to open up in 27 countries, 27 labour pathways for refugees. And we really want to move between 15 and 20,000 refugees in the next 5 years. But then once that's done, these pilot programs, they need to become permanent. And that's the goal. So that we have permanent programs in place, we have a system that is sustainable, and that we don't even need to be having conversations about this. The question, why wouldn't we hire someone who's a skilled refugee? They just become part of the conversation and have access to these pathways and to these opportunities.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But part of me thinks that would be bittersweet.
Yeah.
That would be missed, but I'm sure there would be other opportunities, and it would be for the good. Before we wrap up, I have to ask the question that we always ask at the end of our sessions or our videos. How do you, Patrick, make work happen?
How do I make work happen? I love the title as well of the podcast. I just want to say, how do we make
Oh,
work?
thank you. I'll pass that on to our marketing team.
Yeah.
They love to hear that.
Um, Make work happen by connecting with people. And that's it. It's as simple as that. It was hard for us in the pandemic, all of us. I think a lot of the work that we do is connecting. It's connecting and creating space to talk about some of these really important things. So for me, yeah, when I have time with my colleagues in person, and it's that connectivity, that's what makes the work happen.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much. And I cannot thank you and your colleagues for all of the wonderful work that you're doing. It's pleasure partnering with you. You do great work with Weichert and our clients. And I do encourage everyone to reach out, check out the website, check out the stories, the case studies, the information that's out there. Have that conversation. Reach out to leadership. Just put it in front of them. There's a lot of good to be done, and there's a case to be made. So thank you very much, Patrick.
And thank you for all your support.